Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we hope you all had a wonderful January. We are here to talk about the January movies, New Year's new movies on Hallmark Channel. And we are going to be previewing the Loveuary films. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Mary Richards is here.
Hello.
And how are you doing, Mary?
So I joined with a library background to
Yeah.
think that we could channel our Jane Austen.
That's
I don't
right.
know. I
It's
first
very
I
good.
picked an England background and it didn't look
Yeah.
it looked like I was promoting the Scottish love scheme, which we'll get into later. So,
No, I think it's setting a very we're going to have a very civilized discussion here. We're
exactly.
talking literature,
Mhm.
Hallmark movies. It's going to be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Well, I hope you had a good January, good start to 2024.
Yes. 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 It hasn't snowed much here as much. So it felt like, and
It's
maybe this
true.
is, and we can talk about this with the movies, like December feeling all cozy, wintry, and
Yeah.
like January just started.
It didn't
So
snow much in Utah or on Hallmark
or
movies.
in the movies. Yes.
That's true.
So, but hopefully you've had a good start. You've been so busy
I
Sunday.
have been so busy.
Gosh.
I feel like I'm like a zombie human at this point after finishing Sundance. And
Mhm.
it was I
What
ended
day
up
is this?
seeing,
What movie is this?
yeah, there were some really good ones. I saw 28
Wow.
films, which is my personal record for the most I've ever seen. And so I was pretty happy about that. And there's always going to be some horrible ones, but for the most part, it was a pretty good festival.
Good.
And yeah, and there's going to be some that I think Hallmark fans will enjoy. Of course, with Sundance, you always have that little bit of edge, so it might not be for all of the listeners, but there was one that was really pretty fun. It would be rated R, but it was fun, called You're a Monster, kind of a riff on Beauty and the Beast.
Hmm.
That was a lot of fun. I think the Hallmarkies will enjoy that one when it comes out. And I'm trying to think if there's any other obvious ones there. There was one I didn't see, but called Love Me, that is about a satellite and a buoy falling in love.
What?
So there's Sundance for you.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so I'm really glad that we are doing the preview along with this recap. And this recap portion might be kind of short
We
because
can,
I try to keep it pretty positive. I know people are trying their best to make good movies,
right.
and
We
sometimes they just don't land. And I didn't really like any of these four movies.
I know if you asked me to rank them, I'd be like,
It's tough.
that would make me have a favorite.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And I don't know if I did.
yeah. Yeah, they were all pretty boring, and just like if people what people think are what people all the cliches that people think about Hallmark movies pretty much were in all of these. And it just didn't feel like,
It didn't feel like a January, like a I
no.
know we're done with Winterfest and all those things. And I know there are places in the world, in the US, where they're watching these movies where they don't have a cozy, snowy winter.
Yeah.
But these just kind of felt like a hodgepodge. So they called it New Year, New
Yeah.
You.
It
Um,
just feels like they went up to the $5 movie bin at Walmart and were like, click, 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 click. We're just gonna like,
this looks good. Let's try this one.
yeah.
Let's try this one and see what happens. So there was no like overarching theme for them all, but maybe because they were working so hard on February's theme,
Yeah,
that this
maybe.
one's like, here's kind of some four. Let's just completely just boom, we're done with Christmas.
Yeah.
Here are
Or
these four.
they put all the money and everything into Christmas, and then we're
Oh,
just like,
true.
we gotta
Yeah.
have something to air in
Well, we
January.
had two international ones. So,
Hmm.
but they were, yeah, but maybe it was, they were just kind of done at some point
Oh
and then
yeah.
sure, let's stick them on the calendar for January. I don't know.
It's weird. I almost forget that Love on the Right Course was international.
Yeah, because it,
Because it's like so, like it wasn't that like central to the story, that it was just
No,
kind
it
of
wasn't.
random that it
They
was
were
in
two
Budapest.
Americans that sometimes said Hungarian words. Yeah.
Yeah. And which was interesting because there actually is sort of a Hollywood tradition of with
You,
their if you ever seen Shop Around the Corner,
yes. Oh, yes, that's in
that's
Hungary.
just randomly set in Budapest for like no
Budapest.
reason at all.
And you don't see any scenes.
No.
So I went to Budapest on assignment for the church news
Uh-huh.
last year.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and so I saw the river and the two,
Uh-huh.
there's two different, there's Buda and Pest, or they were saying Pest. Um,
Oh
but this film, I kudos to it for being gorgeous because there were parts of
yeah.
it I was like, whoa, I didn't see any of that. That was there when it was rainy though in October, so it was
Mm.
gray and rainy. So and
Yeah, I guess we should start. So Love on the Right
yeah.
Course. This was the first movie of the year on the 6th. It starred Ashley Newbrow, Marcus Rosner, director Stefan Skeeny, writers Brittany Bristow, Dustin Keating, and I guess she kind of based it on her meeting her husband, I guess,
Oh,
Brittany, I
I did not know
guess.
that.
Yeah, she was
I
saying on
love that.
Twitter. Yeah. And when Whitney's father's injured, she returns home to run the financially troubled family golf course. There, she meets Austin, handsome course pro, and reluctantly enters the annual tournament for a shot at winning the purse. And again, I get it that these movies are not easy and that people work hard on them. So, no shade. They made something, I've made nothing. But this was really hard for me to get through. I thought it was so dull. I just was not invested in the story. I was not invested in the characters. There was like a little bit between the father and daughter
Yeah,
that I thought there's some like good moments there,
yeah,
but it took me a couple days. I would watch it in little spurts, and then I just kept
same.
like either falling asleep or getting so distracted, or it just
Yeah,
was it was tough. I didn't like
yeah.
it.
I agree. I thought, oh, I'll watch this one with my husband. He's a golfer. In fact, when we were dating, he taught me golf.
Mm-hmm.
Our son played on the golf team at our high school. Like, I thought this will be fun. Let's watch
Yeah.
together. And it took us a few days too. He's like, let's just stop it here and go to bed. We'll finish tomorrow. It wasn't like I want to see what happens next.
No.
So we had some golf critiques, though. Brittany, kudos to her, was a great golfer in the movie. Like she looked like she
Yeah.
was a golfer, and I felt like they understood the game, but almost not quite because the vocabulary was off. And so I tried to think,
Mm.
is this Canadian vocabulary? Is this Hungarian vocabulary? Because you would say the tour, not the circuit. You'd say, I have a round of golf, not a game of golf. Um,
Yeah.
so some of those things fell off, and I just wanted to understand, oh, maybe am I like American way or no way? But my husband's like, no, I think over in Europe they also say tour, round.
Yeah.
So just things like that. But and with any sports movie, it feels like they're trying their best to have this beautiful actress or actor, and then like pretend have them look like they're, but with like cutaways and
Mm-hmm.
close-ups, and. So the only part where I really liked with the golf game itself was when they're playing together, and he's left-handed, she's right-handed, so they were facing each other and chipping. And
Mm.
I was like, it was cute because it reminded me of dating my.
Yeah. I could
But
see that.
other than that, I mean, oh, and the dad, they leaned hard into he was sad.
Yeah.
He depressed about his wife, and he wouldn't get up in the morning, and then the dog comes in and helps him kind of
Yeah,
heal
that
and
was
get
pretty
going.
cute.
So I liked that was redeemable for this for me, that it
Mm-hmm.
showed him, for anybody who's lost somebody and they're just grieving, how to kind of lift yourself up out of that fog. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Those are some good points. I think what would have helped this movie a lot is for it to be a little bit funny. Like,
yes,
because
lighten it. Yeah.
yeah, because if you think of some of like the funniest movies ever made have been about golf. I mean,
Yeah.
Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore, and
Yeah.
like really funny because it's such an austere sport. It takes itself so seriously, so it's like easy to sort of poke fun at and be like,
Yeah.
and but this was very, very serious, and it had those themes of grief and loss, which can work. But I thought that Marcus's character just did nothing for me. Like he
No.
was so bland. Why was he supposedly had been raised in Budapest, but he
Yeah.
had like no accent at all.
He
because I
didn't
guess
at all.
he'd gone to like American school or something. But
His
still, like
parents
if
did,
that's
and
where
his
you were,
brother did.
if
Yeah.
that's where you were from, you would not have a an accent at
I know.
all. And like, why are you talking like a Canadian if you
Let's just have
grew
this
up
be in Canada, you know?
yeah.
No, just kidding.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
know.
they should have had him just be the international pro or something like that for
Yeah.
or just I don't know. And he can be funny. I've seen Marcus be funny, and
Mhm.
usually when he's funny, it's usually playing like in the Birthday Wish or something like that, playing the wrong guy. He was
Oh,
so funny,
yes. Oh,
and
he was.
I would love to again, I think this would have worked so much better if they'd been like true enemies to lovers, maybe had some kind of like fight on the golf course when they first meet and
Yeah.
they could have like a banter back and forth between
Yeah.
maybe they disagree on which putter to use or I don't know. I have
Yes.
no idea.
Or they race
But
up, or something like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, there
just
could have been more to it.
just
The bones were
something.
kind of there.
Yeah.
Let's elevate it. Yeah.
So I would go pretty low on this. I also thought, I mean, this is now their second movie working together, and I still don't think they had good chemistry. It just was rough. I would give it maybe a one.
Oh, oh, we're starting out.
Yeah, it was tough to finish.
Well, it was
It
a
really was.
two stars for me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So then we had a Scottish love scheme. This one, 13th. This is Erica Durance, Jordan Young, director Heather Hawthorne Doyle, writer Gerta Azzi. Lily travels to Scotland with her mother and reconnects with Logan, a childhood family friend. Unbeknownst to Lily and Logan, their meddling mothers have come up with a plan to set them up. So the best part about, aside from Scotland being pretty, the best part about this movie was the two old women.
oh, for
They
sure.
were delightful. They were fun. They were funny. But
Other than that,
I,
you and I both, we've talked about this before. We don't drink, and so the whole
yeah.
whiskey thing didn't
Oh my
do
gosh.
anything.
There
I
was so much conversation about the
whiskey.
whiskey business and whiskey. And I mean, and it could be about anything. It could be about soda pop. Something I do drink. It doesn't really matter if
Nuts and bolts, or it's
yeah,
too
if
much about that topic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I liked that the Vineyard movie with Laura Osnes and like that was
Is
really
sommelier.
charming. So
Yeah.
I love Walk in the Clouds, which is about
Oh,
a
yeah.
vineyard. Like I
Or
can
Valentine in the Vineyard.
yeah,
Something other.
some of those I like more than others, but it doesn't necessarily matter that I don't drink, but it was just like I don't care about this whiskey business
Oh,
talk.
yes. No, that's a good point to
There was
make.
so much of it.
Yeah, any business talking
Yeah.
so much about it and then not doing anything. They kept
Yeah.
saying, we need the label. And then they'd like go do something else. We need to
Yeah.
stress. And then they'd go, I was like the whole time, I'm like, finish the label. Because
Yeah.
I just got stressed for them. This business is in trouble. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So,
And then the like degree to her outrage about, when the big reveal is finally made,
yeah,
I'm just like, this is not about you. This is
right.
if you want to like think about a movie with Erica Durance that did this basically the same plot, much better, was that one at Christmas with Barbara Niven.
Oh, yes.
It's basically the same plot.
Yes.
Like she's a mother figure and she's
Oh,
hiding
yeah.
the fact that she's got cancer and
Mm,
and that was a lot better than this.
yeah. Yeah, I think the Logan, the guy was a saving part of this if you're
Hmm.
looking for anything
And
redeemable.
he
And
was pretty good.
he was great. And the kid was so cute, though
Hmm.
he has a sugar addiction.
I think
A
that
word.
I mean, again, another example of doing this kind of story, even though I think it was Wales, not Scotland, was Presence of Love.
Oh, yeah.
That was outstanding.
Louis Mumford.
And so that was much better than this. I just wish I wish I was loving Erica Durance, even though I liked that one at Christmas fine. She's had a few that I've enjoyed, but I don't know, she's just not in general doing it for me as a leading lady in these
Yeah.
movies.
And a
I
lot of
don't
times
know.
people are going to pick a movie they watch by the actor or actress, the lead,
Yeah.
And so that's a fair point.
Yeah. And this just felt like another one of these women's fiction stories that they're trying to do these days that almost always just feel either like boring or rushed, or they're just not working.
Yeah. I got so frustrated at the end that her mom is dying and she would still go to Seville. I was like,
Yeah.
no.
Right.
And that she runs around with her mom for their day of Scotland and goes to the spot where she got engaged when her dad is left behind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, Dad should be there too. There were just little things like that where I was like, could we not do that?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd watched this out of order. I had done the golf one, Betty's Bad Luck, and then this one. And so this one was better by comparison.
Previewed our next.
Oh, and I also finished it after the Ariel's one. So that one's fresh in my mind. It's like, compared to those, it felt a little bit better, like better acted, I guess. Yeah. But still.
I would give this one 2. It just was not interesting to me. I wish the whole movie had just been about the two ladies. They were
Yes, I agree. Oh, they were so cute. So because of the cute ladies, I'm at probably 2.75.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Had Betty's Bad Luck in Love. This was on the 20th. It stars Lacey J. Miley and Marco Gazzini, director Linda Lisa Hayter, writer Cameron Johan. And cursed from childhood to fail at romance, Betty's relationships have always ended in disaster. But when she meets Alex, she's tempted to try once more. Can true love prevail over a curse? Now, for me, this movie, I appreciate that they kind of were trying something kind of a little bit different, a little more madcap, a little more silly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I think that if you can kind of, I hate the phrase turn off your brain. I don't agree with that phrase. But if you can just go with the premise, then it was fun enough.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's hard for me to take that leap and go with this premise. Not because there's a curse. I'm fine with that. What was harder for me is that I just didn't buy that this guy would be interested in Betty. That was the problem, because of her behavior was so insane and so manic, and the way she was acting really needed like severe help. And so the idea that he would find this charming when she's like stalking him at his campsite, just acting just like extreme, these extreme reactions to like everything, like getting on an elevator, like, she's like
so anxious.
She was so anxious. And so aside from her being beautiful, which of course she is, like there was no reason that this guy would be interested in her, or that he would. And so that was the stumbling block, not the curse. But I was like, if I could just sort of go with the movie there, that he finds this attractive for some reason, then I'd be like, okay, it was kind of fun. But I don't think I could really go there. So it didn't really work.
And I think other people were able to, and I looked at comments, others, they were able to just sit back and be like, just have fun. They're just running around. It's crazy. It's goofy. He's gorgeous. Just have fun. But I'm with you where I was like, she's strongly anxious. Another movie did that better, with what's his name, Clayton James. Remember, she's trying to cross the bridge and she starts to
Oh
have a panic
yeah.
attack, and he
Yeah,
walks
that was
through it.
better. You're right.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
gonna tackle anxiety, um, but what was missing here for me, and my husband pointed this out too, was a montage of showing us the reason for your anxiousness. Have all
Mm,
these dates and guys you've had for 20 years had all this bad luck in love that you say you have.
yeah.
Otherwise, it should be Betty's anxiety over love, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they tried to show that at the beginning with
Oh,
like
that's true.
the guy trying to step out of the car and almost getting hit by the car.
She's
And
like, I can't do it. You
yeah, I
know,
can't do
she
this
feels it's her
person.
fault that these guys are getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to handle. Just
Yeah,
because
that would
the
be
girl in
a
eighth grade
lot.
was like, a hex. And later the girl's like, I put a hex on you over Bobby. That was the best.
That was funny. Yeah.
And the redeeming quality for me was, man, he can, I think he can build chemistry with anybody.
He
Just the way
is
he looks,
extremely, yeah.
yeah, and just is right there and loving, intense
Hmm.
and just sweet, sweet, sweet. So all of that, like you said, if you can just sit back and enjoy that part of it, then you'll have a fun time. If you think too much about it, you're like, ugh.
I think if they had made it again more outright of a comedy, made it
Yeah,
more funny,
it's all comedy.
that you could have even had it be sort of her in on the joke a little bit more of like, as opposed to like her treating everything extremely seriously. It would have
Mhm.
been, I think, funnier if she had been like, get ready because you're going to be in sort of like, you're ready for a lot of bad things to happen.
Oh yeah.
And, and then she opens the door and the guy almost gets told you, I warned you, like her being kind of in on the joke, that would have made her more attractive to the
Mm.
guy, being like, oh my gosh, look at this,
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
confident, funny. Like I think that is how I would have done it more, as opposed to like her needing like serious therapy. Like, it was concerning.
Yeah, she's just cured by the end and they get married and
Yeah.
she's playing rugby. It's like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we did get, sometimes at the end, you're like, oh, I wish I could find out what happened to them. We found out what happened to them. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did get a we did get that. And I'm trying to think of, I feel like, I mean, even I know it's not a great movie, but um the movie version of Bewitched with Will
oh,
Ferrell and
yes.
and
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman, and how he's got that kind of like manic energy a little bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe that might have worked better if he had been the main character as opposed to like in Bewitched,
Yeah.
like,
Or like a
so
bringing a baby where you're just scooped into this kind of
ye-
whirlwind of this crazy person,
yeah.
you
Yeah, if
know?
he had been the lead character and he starts dating this crazy person, like that could have been more funny.
Maybe so. Because
Yeah.
we're supposed to be building sympathy for her. And I just kind of felt worried for her.
Yeah, exactly. They're just taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
So
like we said at the beginning, they're trying new things, and we don't want to be complaining like, "Oh, you always give us the same stuff, Hallmark." But at the same time, I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I would, if I had to watch any of these four again, I would probably watch this one again, because I think
Maybe I
it
should
was
give
the
it another
most
shake."
interesting. It was the
Yeah,
most different. It was the most but I'd still probably give it a 2.5 because I don't think it really worked in the end.
yeah, I'm at a 2.5. I mean, they were just funny things. I might try to look at that accountant again in the copy room and find his funny quirks again and see what
Hmm.
was up with his two short ties. And so there might be more
Yeah.
layers that I could see next time.
Yeah. Well, the last one was Romance with a Twist. And this one, the 27th, Jocelyn Houdin and Olivia Renaud, director Max McGuire, writer Uma Incroci. And it's Luna is a former dancer who left that dream behind for grounded life managing her family's construction business, and gets the opportunity to transform a gymnasium into a studio for aerials. As she sneaks a moment to try, it's kind of funny they said aerials because they, in the movie they were like, it's not
Ariel.
aerials, it's
Yeah.
Ariel.
Yeah, right.
As she sneaks a moment to try it in dancing in the silks, she is surreptitiously discovered by Bennett, a professional aerialist who has returned home from performing around the world. Bennett is none too pleased to walk in to find his contractor messing around on the silks, but when his partner for an upcoming show drops out, he soon recruits Luna to perform with him. So I think the big takeaway from this movie is just how great Olivia Renaud is. Like, if people hadn't seen him Christmas on Fifth Avenue, which is one of my all-time faves, I absolutely love that movie. He's so good in that and has such good chemistry with Catherine Davis. Then hopefully they got to see him here and see how good he is. He's so charismatic. He's just a star, in my opinion.
Very talented.
Yeah.
And this is another one where I'm like, wow, kudos to Hallmark for trying something I've never seen before in a Hallmark, though the theme is still there of trying, I thought I would love it if this could have leaned a little more summer stock. I don't know, like, because they talking about, this big barn that we're turning into this performing center and how can we all rally and do that together. But it was one where I found myself getting distracted a few times and I wanted to give it my full attention, but then I would be like, what's happening over here?
Yeah, I basically had the same experience. My response was, Loveuary is a star. He should be in tons of these. Aerial scenes were fun to watch. The rest of the story, big snooze. It was just not interesting. And I actually didn't think they had very good chemistry together.
I couldn't get over the fact how I'd yelled at her.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to do that kind of enemies to lovers, sort of, but I just wasn't feeling that spark. Yeah.
Cute kiss at the end, and
there was a good kiss at the end.
Come on up here.
And they had a pretty long routine, and it was nice because so often, whether it's skating or dancing or whatever the skill is, it's so clear that they can't really do it, and they're doubles and stuff like that. But in this case, they were both talented, and they could have a longer routine. And I mean, because Olivia, he performed for Cirque du Soleil, so he's trained at this. He knows. So I thought that did add a layer to me for this. I just wish that I liked the story better. And
I know, and the rest of the characters that I kept getting confused. Who was the dark-haired lady that was mad, but then not mad?
Yeah,
and
it was a lot of time spent talking about the construction.
Yeah,
and
all of those things.
I had like Sundance brain because I'd watched 28 movies in 10 days. So then watching this yesterday, I was just kind of like, so I agree, I was pretty tired, but I was just like, I wanted this to be better.
I know. And I still really, like you said, I loved the routine and all that cool stuff. And I've seen these performances before in different places, and it's just amazing what they can do. Yeah. And that was really cool, and that helped redeem it. But the other stuff, I was just kind of lost, I think.
Yeah. So I would give this one also 2.5, but I would just definitely encourage them to keep hiring Olivier. He is a star.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. I think I what did I write down? I think I did 2.75 for effort for,
Yeah.
Be convinced to go 3. No, 2.75.
Yeah.
For my overall stance for the month.
Yeah. I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Elise Murray and her exciting book, Society Girl. Set in the mysterious world of Oxford University's secret societies, Society Girl follows Sam, a duke's estranged daughter, as she attempts to join the most famous club of them all, the Animos Society. Her final initiation challenge is simple. Find a man, convince him she's in love with him, and then break his heart in humiliating fashion. Hardened by her father's rejections, believing that the Animos Society is her key to his love and acceptance, Sam throws herself into making Daniel Best, her father's chauffeur and local musician, fall for her. But she never counted on falling in love with him right back. Fans of Colleen Hoover, Anna Hong, and Mia Sheridan will love Society Girl, a sweeping romance from bestselling novelist and screenwriter Elise Murray. Free for Kindle Unlimited users for a limited time. Go to elisemurray.com/novels/Society Girl for more information. Or you can use the affiliate link below. There we go. Well, let's talk about Loveuary. Very exciting. And when I first heard about this Jane Austen month, I was like, oh no, this is going to be rough because I have not enjoyed, I love Jane Austen.
Oh, so much.
And every February I do Jane Austen month on my channel on Rachel's Reviews, and so I love Jane Austen and the
Mhm.
adaptations. The problem with Hallmark is that they tend to not actually be adaptations. They just use the names, like
Yeah.
Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe is one of my least
Mm.
favorite Hallmark movies
One
ever.
of and the Darcy ones with the dog shows and the
Yeah,
sensibility
and
men.
Sense and Sensibility and Snowman. I mean,
Yeah.
these aren't. There's nothing. Even like in Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe, there's nothing with Pride and Prejudice, and
There's like
in
Pemberley
the
Manor.
in the Pemberley Manor one, they have Wickham being the friendly mayor. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what?
Yeah, you can't just borrow people's names, but then
Yeah,
really explore the themes or the reasons
yeah,
or the characteristics of those
yeah.
names, you know,
It
and then
feels
call it a
it
yeah.
feels like you're taking advantage of Jane Austen and her popularity,
Yeah.
and
And trying to bring me in to watch it, which I
yeah, so
do.
it's very
Okay.
annoying. So when I heard this, I'm like, oh no, it's going to be a rough month. But then they showed the trailer, and I'm like, what? They're period costumes. What is happening?
I
And
know.
so I got really excited, and then I've talked. We had our Will Kemp movie ranking that posted today. That posted this week, and we were talking about Paige and Mr. Darcy, and just in talking with him, it that even increased my excitement all the
Mhm.
more. And so I'm really hopeful that at least some of these are going to end up being really special.
I
So
know.
fingers
I am
crossed.
too. Yes, exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
just gonna overlook some, you know, idiosyncrasies or what's the word?
Mhm.
When it's not quite period appropriate for like
Yeah.
cravats and all that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Get a little
I,
too into it.
would you say you're an Austenite? You're an Austen
Oh,
fan?
so much.
Yeah.
I own all her books and sometimes multiple copies of her books.
Yeah.
That's why I put the library behind me here
Yes.
for my Zoom background. And I could just talk all day about adaptations. I think one of the very first episodes of the Hallmarkies podcast was that I listened to that I found was when you were discussing the different Emma adaptations, I think.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And
That was a fun
I
episode.
was in. I was like, yes, yes, girls preach. So and I can talk
Yeah.
all day about the new Persuasion on Netflix and, you know, the
Yeah.
redeeming qualities of 1995 versus 2005 Pride and Prejudice. And so I get a little too meta.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go into this with an open mind of
Hmm.
those influences from the period and from the
Yeah.
books and hopefully have a great time. I'm just
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, I love Jane Austen, and I wouldn't say that I'm like a traditionalist. I mean, well, Clueless is one of my favorite
Yeah.
adaptations.
Yeah.
I love that. I love Bridget Jones's Diary. I'm more than open to things that pay homage, that use it as a jumping off point. Like I said, the thing that just annoyed me about these Hallmark ones was just that it wasn't that. They didn't do that. And
Yes. Yeah.
but in uh in these I'm really hopeful. And so let's start off. And what would be an Austen ranking that we
Ooh.
could do for our excitement level?
What do you say hairstyle? Let's see. Let me think.
Thanks. Maybe they would uh we'll
Regimental.
have like, because she always talks about that she was past her bloom, and so
Oh,
maybe we'll do 4 blooms out of your excitement level.
I love it.
4 blooms. Okay, first is Paige and Mr. Darcy. That's coming this weekend. Will Kemp, Mallory Jensen, and director Peter Wellington, writer Raina Hardy. When an overly serious scholar attends an annual Jane Austen conference, she has a sudden change of heart when she strikes a deal with the man who's playing Mr. Darcy. So, what do you think about this one?
I it almost felt like there might be some shades of Austen land in here.
Uh-huh.
But these two, I'm hopeful because these two leads, like I often go for a movie based on the leads. Will Kemp, just adore him. And then she was so cute in her pen pal in France. And so I've got like these high hopes for this one. I think it's a good premise. I love that idea of this expert and then this guy who's like kind of, supposed to be this epitome of, the Mr. Darcy character. I have high hopes for this. Maybe.
Yeah. I have really high hopes for it too, especially after talking to Will. And I feel like they're going to have good chemistry, and I feel like he's just the ideal person.
For sure. The accent he doesn't even have to fake.
Right.
Perfect. And he stands up straight because he's a dancer. I'm like, he has the posture of an English gentleman. It's just, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, Austen Land is probably the movie and book that people expect me to love that I absolutely don't love. Oh. And it's a bit of an unpopular opinion, especially in Utah. I really felt like that movie did not understand Jane Austen very well and treated it as if it was. I felt like it really treated it as very silly, and then when not that we can dive into, but there's something that happens to her character that I felt like the movie trivialized that really annoyed me. And so it just wasn't for me. But I feel like there's potential in that concept.
Yes.
To be something I'd like, which is why it was disappointing to me. So I'm actually still kind of hopeful. And there's I think really the first three feel very Austen Land inspired.
They do all kind of, don't they, actually?
Yeah, they really do.
And
so fingers crossed that they will kind of get that tone right, and that it will work. And so I'm going to give this 4 blooms. I am really looking forward to it.
Me too. 4 blooms for sure.
Yeah. So then we have Love and Jane. This is on the 10th, and this is Alison Sweeney, Ben Ayres, writer and director David Weaver, who's one of our favorites. He's great. And Lily, a hopeless romantic and literary enthusiast, is surprised when her wish to talk to her favorite author comes true, and Jane Austen herself appears in her life.
This could be good.
Yeah, it really could. It sounds very fun. I forgot to write down. Let me see. On the IMDb, who's playing Jane Austen?
Oh yeah, I didn't recognize her.
No, it doesn't have it on the IMDb. Wonder who that is playing. Let's see. Yeah, they have her picture, but I don't recognize her.
Yeah,
I don't recognize her
because it's just somebody dark-haired and So I'm curious.
That could be a big factor in this if I like her Austen.
Yeah.
But I do think that these two will have good chemistry. Obviously they'd work together. I was not a fan of the Chronicle Mysteries. I thought they were a miss, but I like them together in it. Mm-hmm. And so seeing them together, I think will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I like David. And so I think his writing will be pretty good, will be sharp. And so I am going to give this one like a 3.5, just slightly below the other. But I'm excited for it.
I am too. I'm really hoping this is the same kind of Benjamin Ayres who showed up from the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania movie, where he's so sweet and youthful and energetic, and not the brooding one from the Cranberry Christmas or others where he's just kind of serious. And so the previews I saw looked so promising because of that line that I love from Sense and Sensibility. I examined my own heart, and there you were. I'm like, that preview got me. I was like, okay, let's try this. So because of my high hopes, I have it at 4.
Yeah. So the thing about Jane Austen is that her books are, I think you could make an argument that her books are as much coming of age stories as they are romantic stories. When you break them down, they really don't have that much romance in them.
Oh, and I meant Emma, not Sense and Sensibility. I meant Emma. Yeah. No, that's true. There really isn't any.
Yeah. I mean, they have almost no romantic dialogue except for Emma. That's the only one that there's real banter between them. And the rest, it makes me crazy. And I adore Pride and Prejudice, of course, but it does make me a little crazy when Darcy finally proposes Jane Austen. She says, he said what was appropriate for a man. desperately in love or
They're
whatever. Like,
desperately
I
in
want to
love.
know this
Yeah.
stuff,
And
but I
they
want to know.
spend the evening looking at each other. And
Yeah.
like, flesh that out a little more,
And nobody can write a letter like Jane Austen, of course.
Captain Wentworth letter and Persuasion is
But
just,
yeah, if you think about Persuasion, they really spend almost no time together.
they don't.
They're apart for almost the entire book.
Even in the same room, they're apart.
And it doesn't matter because it's not really about the romance. It's about these women coming of age and making choices. And really the only choices women had at that time was to who they were going to marry.
Yeah.
And so there's obviously social commentary and lots of things going on. And I guess that's part of what annoyed me in Austenland was I felt like it just reduced it to these like silly stories. And there's so much more to it than that. And especially since Sensibility, Emma, and Pride and Prejudice are about these women becoming women.
Yeah. And navigating the social classes that they're in, and their
and Northanger Abbey's the same way, and so is Mansfield Park. They're all, and the only one that's a little bit older is Persuasion. And so, and that's about sort of examining the mistake that she made when she was young.
That regret.
Yeah. So I hope that some of these movies capture that and aren't just fluffy stories.
Right. Anyway. Right. Exactly. Where it feels like they're just completely just skimming off the top and not kind of go deeper.
Yeah. Well, so the next one is An American in Austen. And this is on the 17th, and it stars Eliza Bennett and Nicholas Bishop. And it's Harriet who thinks that no real man compares to Mr. Darcy is transported into Pride and Prejudice and gets an unexpected chance to find out. And how perfect to have an actress named Eliza Bennett.
I know. Gosh.
Transferred into Pride and
Her whole life has probably been waiting for this moment, for this casting call.
Like, that's crazy.
Do you remember the movie Lost in Austin? Was it like that one where she goes through the bedroom closet door and then and
then she ends up in the different stories. Yeah. And Nicholas Bishop, I loved him in the Paris movie with Alexa.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So he was in that. And I don't know this actress at all, but it just seems such kismet.
Yeah, I know.
For her to be in this.
Like, this is perfect.
I'm like, you better be good because it's just too perfect.
I know.
And we haven't seen a trailer or anything for this, but it sounds really fun.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to expect or what to think besides the premise, which does have fun.
Yeah. And so I'm going to give this one a 4. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Just because I'm not exactly sure. I think I was at like 3.75.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, and so then the next one, this is just so weird and so random that like in the middle of Jane Austen month, on a Monday, there's a random Erin Cahill movie. Like, I didn't even know that this was a thing until I was
just showed up
Hallmark
on the
calendar.
Yeah, it just showed up. I'm like, wait a minute. What
is this? It's called A Taste of Love, and it's on the 19th. So 2 days after the other one. It stars Erin Cahill and Jesse Cove and Martin Cove. And director and writer Michael E. Brown, Conrad de la Torres III. Struggling to find her culinary voice as network TV star, Taylor returns to her hometown to visit her parents. She must choose between her renewed relationship, saving her family restaurant, or her dream career as a worldwide renowned chef.
This feels like that one with Brendan Penny just warmed over. What was that one? Remember when
it feels like 99% of Hallmark movies warmed over. The girl from the city going back to the country, having to choose between her love and her career
and her business. Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? In the days of media that we have, that somebody would have to give up their career as a worldwide known chef because they fall in love at their hometown. It's so stupid and so ridiculous.
Pioneer woman, she runs a worldwide empire.
Yeah, exactly.
Oklahoma,
right?
So yeah, I'm like,
it's
and I'm just kind of upset that it's messing up my Loveuary theme.
I know. And for what? Why do we need this movie on a Monday? Like, it's so weird.
I don't know. I mean, make that money.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's what? I give it a 1. It's only because I like Aaron as a human. I don't know.
Rachel, coming now.
Yeah.
It's not even on the Bloom scale because it's not I do like Erin, so I'm thinking a 3. I'm hopeful because I've always liked her, but it is kind of a random, like, maybe I'll be like, good, the formula, give it to me into my veins. It's what I need right now. I don't know.
Yeah. So then we have Sense and Sensibility on the 24th. I think this is officially a Mahogany movie, even though it's not an all-black cast. But it's Bethany Antonia, Deborah Ionride, and Dan Janot, and a period adaptation of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. After a change in circumstances, Marianne is torn between 2 men, while Eleanor longs for a man beyond reach. So how do you feel about this?
As long as they can tell all the storylines within the time frame they have.
That's my worry. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
It's a long book.
Mm-hmm. And these two sisters have their complex storylines and the different issues with these men. Sometimes we get like one-note men, and so they also have a part in this to play. And will these 2 men that she's choosing between, will one truly be a rake who's, if I'm going to use Austen type wording, a scoundrel, or just someone who's got a conflicted background? Will it be like a clear choice where we're screaming at the screen, he's a jerk, don't pick him? Or I don't know. I don't know. Kudos. It seems like they really are trying something.
Yes. Yeah, that's my worry, is just, are they going to be able to fit it in? Are they going to, and again, I'm not a strict traditionalist. I don't need everything, but the core kind of heart of the story, is it going to be, and the Mahogany movies have been terrible, in my opinion. The last year and change have been really bad. So that actually almost reduces my enthusiasm as opposed to increasing. But I'm nervous. Yeah. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and I admire them for, I can't believe it that they're actually doing it. I was shocked when I saw period costumes. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hopeful. I'm hopeful, especially with the 2 sisters and learning from each other and their strengths and what, so without seeing much of a preview, it's hard to guess, but maybe I'll give it a 3 blooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
I forgot to put on the spreadsheet the Gilded Mysteries. So
the Newport. Which have you been watching The Gilded Age on HBO Max?
I watched the first season. I was so bored that I didn't watch the second season, but I heard that it's better, that it's gotten a lot better.
I did love the second season better than the first, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot. It's too many people where I'm like, who's that again? And what's their storyline? And you made it a big deal and then you dropped it. So but all that aside, the second season, they spend a lot of time in Newport. And so that kind of thing is very hot right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Gilded Newport Mysteries, Murder at the Breakers. Yeah. And this is February 2nd, and it's a society page writer in 1895 Rhode Island witnesses a murder while attending a ball at the Vanderbilt mansion and is drawn into the investigation when her brother is arrested. Now, and this stars Ali Scobie, Danny Griffin, and Nathan Vitti. And I don't think we're gonna get like Gilded Age costume accuracy in this movie.
Probably not.
We had to kind of
Budgets and all.
yes, but I was happy just to see that she had like the correct curls and her hair was right because they don't get that right on One Calls the Heart. So that was a step up at least. And I think it sounds fun.
It does sound fun.
Different.
I love a good mystery when it's done well and it's fun and it draws you in and you're like, ooh, what's happening? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're really coming into this open-minded this month, which is
Yeah.
with very strong hopes of a good, entertaining, fun time. So with this one, are we going Blooms again? It's Gilded Age, so that's
Yeah, let's just do out of
reach.
4.
Yeah, you're like, drop it. This is Gilded Age. So how many corsets,
Yeah.
which is a different kind of corset than the Regency corset.
Yeah.
Let's give it 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think too. There's also on Movies and Mysteries. I just like completely forgot about Movies and Mysteries.
Oh, I did too.
I'm sorry about that.
What?
So on Movies and Mysteries in February, there's another movie called Crime Time Free Fall. And this is stars Lindy Greenwood and Luke McFarlane. And it's crime series actress Hadley Warner retires to a small town where she encounters crime series actress Hadley Warner retires to a small town where she encounters her first real case. Using her TV crime knowledge, she teams up with Detective Sean Caden to solve the case. And I think that Lindy and Luke are going to be awesome together. I think this has a lot of potential.
I do too. He has good chemistry with pretty much everybody I see him with. And will he play will he play serious? Will he play that he does funny so well? Will it be bringing in that lightheartedness, or will it be like, I'm right here with you, I'm going to be intense,
Right.
So
yeah, I always prefer the campy ones over the gritty ones.
Yeah,
give me the camp. That's my preference.
Makes it fun.
Yeah.
But then if you are going to do a gritty mystery, I feel safe watching it so I don't get too overwhelmed with gore and horror and like jump scares. And, you can do a nice kind of gritty mystery on a Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. That's what I've always loved about their channel, because you're into the sleuthing and everything without knowing that you're going to be overwhelmed by too much that you can't sleep at night.
Right. Yeah.
I am a bit of a softie, apparently. So
yeah. So then I thought it would be fun real quick to do a quick preview of the Flirty Febuary coming to Up TV that we have.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to be continuing to work with Up TV, and I'm super excited about it, and review the ones that I like. And so definitely make sure you're checking out Up TV. They have been very supportive of the podcast, which I'm so grateful for. But we have Baked with a Kiss, and this on the 4th, Ansley Gordon, Jonathan Stoddard. Jonathan Stoddard is like the king of Up TV. He's in like 90% of the movies. So way to go. And it's director Brittany Underwood, writers Ali Spuck, Casey Tabanou. It tells the story of a baker who is known to put magic in her treats. Yeah. And so I love Ansley. We just had her on the podcast. She's so charming and sweet, and Jonathan's a good hunk. There's a reason why he's making all these. So that alone, I'm pretty looking forward to it.
It sounds cute. Yeah. I think that could be really good. Baking, what's not to love, and a little special thing in there. Give me all of that. Yeah.
So I'd give this one like 3.
Okay.
I think it sounds.
Yeah, I'll follow your lead
3.5.
on that.
Yeah,
maybe 3.5. I mean, might want to go raid the kitchen afterwards. So
yes. Okay, then Love by Design. This on the 11th. Jackie Moore, Joey Lawrence, Jack Pearson, Dee Wallace, Eric Roberts. Really stacked cast.
Wow.
Director Jared Cohn, writer Naomi Selfman. Brokenhearted, Brooke Yeardley makes her 30th birthday wish on the vision board she made as a hopeful teen. Miraculously, her wish starts coming true, from launching her own design business to meeting the man on her vision board.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of those concepts before, and I've liked them.
Yeah.
So this could be good. I've seen
I
Joey
do too.
Lawrence
Like, I love The Birthday Wish. That's one of my all-time favorite Hallmark
so
movies.
much.
That's one of
Yeah.
my favorites. Of course, that had Julie Sherman Wolfe script, so that's in its camp. But I mean, a great cast: Dee Wallace, Eric Roberts, Joey Lawrence can be very charismatic, and
Mhm.
he kind of knows, I think, what he's doing. I don't know, it's Jackie
Exactly.
Moore, but enough there to, I think, give it a solid 3.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I look forward to that one. That looks like
Mhm.
it could be fun.
Yeah. And then there's Romance in Hawaii. This on the 18th. Kelly Jackal, Cedric Jonathan, Peter Porte, and Carrie Schroeder, director Nanina Miata, writers Carolina Espiro and Nanina Miata. Leah, a successful financial executive, discovers the missing passion from her life when she starts taking secret hula lessons from handsome local Akika while on assignment in Hawaii.
Mm.
So what do you think of that?
Sounds a little bit like Groundswell with the surfing
Oh, yeah, I
lessons.
can see that. Yeah.
And the other one, when Peter Porte was the surfer and he's next door to the lady with kids at
Mm-hmm.
the beach. So um that sort of thing, like that warm kind of getaway kind of movie might hit me right when I need it.
Yeah.
In February, in cold February, you know. So and the secret lessons to kind of, it sounds almost like a coming of age, like finding something about yourself as you're trying a new talent. So
Mm-hmm. And I
and
love Hawaii, anything Hawaiian, and this Cedric Jonathan, I don't know him, but he is Hawaiian and he
mm,
looks great. So yeah,
fun.
and the dancing could be fun. This
Yes,
looks like a pretty good pickup
it could be
for
fun. Yes.
TV. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
So I'd give this a 3 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm loving Hawaii and I'm going back on assignment for church news. I'll give it 3.5.
Oh, jealous. Take me with you.
Okay.
Okay, then we have The Soulmate Search, this on the 25th. Alexander Harris, Jonathan Stoddard, and it's director Jose Montesinos and writer Haley November. What a great name, Haley November.
Ooh.
Great name. When Lindsay gets the chance to sign up to the notoriously exclusive dating service Eternity, she clashes with Will, her first date. They mutually agree this dating service has been a complete bust and make a deal to get their money back.
That could be fun.
Yes. And I really like Alexander Harris. She was in Christmas at the Amish Bakery, which I really enjoyed.
I saw that. I enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Jonathan Stoddard. And I mean, this premise sounds really fun. What not to like?
That sounds like Love Guaranteed on Netflix. That was just
Yeah. Yeah,
great
that's
movie.
true. That's a good comparison.
Yeah. Of this kind of like, hey, this dating app isn't working. Let's turn it on its head, and then you find love, hopefully. So that that has a good potential. I'm excited for that one.
I'm gonna give this one the full 4.
Yeah,
I really think it sounds fun.
I am too.
The last two, I just want to talk about 2 feature films coming in February. We have Lisa Frankenstein. This is on the 9th, and this stars Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse, director Zelda Williams, who is Robin Williams' daughter, and writer Diablo Cody, who did Juno and Jennifer's Body and a bunch of other stuff. A coming of rage love story about a teenager and her crush who happens to be a corpse. After a set of horrific circumstances bring him back to life, the two embark on a journey to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts. And if you watch the trailer for this, it actually looks really funny. So she brings back this corpse from the but it's almost had like sort of, it looks like it has sort of like an Encino Man kind of quality to it, like the dumb lug kind of a thing. And like I don't think it doesn't look scary like at all. It's not a scary movie, but I don't know, I just thought it looked really funny and charming, and I love Diablo Cody's writing. She's very good, and so I'm actually pretty excited about this. The only thing that makes me nervous about it is they didn't screen it for critics, which is usually like not a great sign.
Yeah,
but still hoping that I'll enjoy it. And it is PG-13; it's not R. So
wow, and we've talked about that. If you want more people to watch your movies, don't rate it at R.
Yeah. Especially if it's like completely unnecessary. Like there are times when it's like, okay, these people would speak this way. This is authentic. It makes sense to have it be rated R. But when it's done just for the rating and there's really no, just have the F word, a bunch of times,
Take it
it makes
out.
no sense to the characters or to the story.
Exactly.
Yeah, then I have issues. But
This,
in
this
this
is an
case,
interesting
it's
one.
PG-13. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear what you think, because
Yeah.
I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
I'll let you know. But I'm gonna give us I'm not gonna give it a 4, but I'll give it like a 3, just because of why didn't they screen it if they had confidence in it. But it's a
Yeah.
lot of the trailer I really thought was funny. So
Okay.
fingers crossed.
I haven't seen the trailer based on the concept, and I don't know, 2.5. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't wait to find out what you
Fair.
think.
Okay, and then Molly and Max in the future, and this is on the 9th as well. And Joja Mamet and Aristotle Athari, and this is director and writer Michael Litwack. And I actually saw this movie at South by Southwest last year, and I really enjoyed it. This one is rated R, but it's just, well, there's a little bit of sensuality, but it's mostly just language. But it's a riff on When Harry Met Sally, which is also rated R. But it's a sci-fi comedy about a man and woman whose orbits repeatedly collide over the course of 12 years. 4 planets, 3 dimensions, and 1 space cult. Wow. So I actually interviewed Michael for the podcast. That'll be next week. That will air. And so it was so fun to talk to him, because we kept in touch, because I had emailed him after I saw the movie. I was like, I really enjoyed it. And since it was rom-com, and so I've been keeping in touch with him this year. And so I'm super excited for him. And what's so impressive is that on like a nothing budget, they were able to create this entire space world, this futuristic world. And it, it's all done through green screens and stuff like that. But it has like a very unique aesthetic and a very unique look about it. And it was just so creative.
Wow.
Everything from the world building to the props to the that it was really fun and refreshing, and it has that When Harry Met Sally kind of bones to it, of like these characters that keep running into each other at different times, and it's really more about their friendship more than anything else. And it's funny, it's just fresh, and I really enjoyed it. So I hope people will, right now it'll just probably be in art houses and stuff like that, but keep an eye out for it. And if it ends up going to like Max or Peacock, or if it is playing near you, I would really encourage the Hallmarkies that watch R-rated movies, that I would really encourage you to check it out and support it, because I think it's a lot of fun and something new. And and I'm just excited for Michael, and I just think it's so impressive what he accomplished on like nothing budget, and really cool. So I hope y'all enjoy the interview as well. I thought it was really fun. Yeah. So I'm giving this my full 4. Everybody will have to let me know what they think.
No, I'm curious. It'll be good to hear that and see what you think. You've got a lot of good podcasts coming up to listen to.
Yeah, I'm really excited about February. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff. So let us know what you think. What you think of the January movies? What rating of excitement do you give the Loveuary and some of the other ones we talked about? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And Mary, where can people find you?
So I'm on Twitter @_Mary Richards. Instagram is Mary Richards Reports, and Facebook Reporter Mary Richards.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. And if you check out Rachel's Reviews, like I said, the whole month of February, I'm continuing Jane Austen month, and I've reviewed over 30 Jane Austen adaptations over there. So I'll put a link to that playlist if you want to check out. They're just little like 5-minute family movie night reviews. So take a look at that. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. It would especially help us right now, because there was an update to the iTunes and Apple and everything, and it messed up everybody's podcasts and the subscriptions and stuff like that. So we could really use those reviews right now. And then if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support us. And you can have wonderful experiences with watch-alongs, like we've had Will Kemp on as a watch along guest before. And this month we are going to have Donna Benedicto on, and we're watching her movie Wedding Cake Dreams. So that's going to be really fun. And so if you want to be a part of these awesome experiences, join the Patreon. And then we also have our merch store where we have Jane Austen inspired merch in the merch store. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.